All right, so um, I'm going to be in Hebrews 11 tonight. That's the only place. But before I get started there, I guess I just wanted to. I'll be leaving um, Thermopolis on Monday, so I just wanted to share a little bit about myself. I think I have before, but I'm just going to do that again since I'm about to leave. So I guess about 16 or so, somewhere in there, um, I started like doing drugs and all that, and just smoking pot and drinking a little bit, and it seemed fine and it was fun, and everything was cool. Like I still had my life together and all, um, but I felt like hopeless. That's a really good word for how I felt. Like I felt really hopeless even at that time, and I was angry at God because just things that had happened to me growing up or whatever were hard, and so like I was like constantly angry at him for those things happening, um, and so I just rejected him, and I started using the drugs and the alcohol to try to find my peace and find comfort. And what wound up happening is, I started using meth and using it regularly, and it was really bad. It was a bad deal. Um, at first, before I went to rehab the first time, it was a really bad deal because I just never stopped. Like I didn't know how to stop, or like I just needed it constantly, and so I wasn't ever sleeping. Um, I remember clearly there was like 2.5 weeks where the only thing I ate was like one pancake for like 2.5 weeks. Like it was really bad, and then I had like a mental breakdown, and then I went to rehab like the next day. Um, but it was really bad when that happened, and then when I got out, I was like, all right, well, I'll just smoke weed. Like I'll just do that. And it was like 2 weeks or so before I was back on meth. And it was almost worse. It really was. It was worse the next time after I got out of rehab because like I knew how to hide it, and like I almost got better at it. And so like that hurt even worse because, um, I was hiding it from my family and from my friends and everyone that loved me. I quit going to church, um, and I got to where I was old enough where I could be like independent. So I just quit going at all and just started getting high all the time. Eventually, I got kicked out, and that's just what my family had to do. And that I think that wound up being one of the things that kind of saved me is that tough love. Got me to the place where I was ready to get help. Um, but it was really bad. I went on and carried on, and I didn't have anywhere to go. I was really living out of my car, um, and then I quit working like at all, and so I needed money. So the only person in my life that was left in my life at this point was my granddad, who was the only person that would have anything to do with me, and I was spending a lot of time over there and sleeping there, and he really helped me out a lot. And this part right here is kind of a cautionary tale to, you know, especially like young people or whatever that think, you might want to start doing drugs or whatever, and just don't, because I never thought I would do this, but it got to the point where I needed money so bad that my granddad, who the only person, is, like I said, the only person left in my life, I stole like, it was somewhere in the range of like $1,000 from him, and then obviously he found out, but it was weird because at the time, like in my head, it was like Satan was telling me like, oh, just take it, like he'll never find out, it'll be fine, just take it, and everything will be cool and you can carry on. And he found out, and And then, I wasn't allowed to go over there again either. But so that really sucked, and that really broke my heart actually. Um, but but Satan was doing that a lot. I didn't have any hope or any faith in anything, and I didn't really know. I didn't have any direction in my life. I was really lost, like really bad. Um, and like I kept telling myself, and I really do believe it was Satan that was whispering in my ear, like that I would be okay. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep using. Keep being a jerk to your family and stuff like that, and continue to be selfish, and everything will work its way out. Like you'll be fine. Um, and that just wasn't the case. And so I eventually got to the place where I was so lonely and like just so desperate that I needed help. I'm really bad. I needed help, and so like this is the other thing I wanted to share. Throughout my time of using drugs, I would get, and especially meth, where I was just really bad off and was never around my family or around my church or whatever. I would get these times like in my life where like God would speak to me like clearly, and there was one time where at the time I thought I was just like tweaking out. I hadn't slept in forever or whatever, and I thought I was tweaking out, but I promise, like God spoke to me, and like it was weird, but I, now I realize that God was speaking to me, and I wasn't just tweaking out or whatever. But that happened pretty often actually, where that would happen, and whatever it was, something spiritual would happen, and I would like go to church, or I would go spend time around believers or whatever, and I would go like be filled with the Spirit. And it felt like awesome. Like I was like, yes, this is what I need to do. This is what I want out of life. But I also wanted the drugs. Like I wanted to have my cake and eat it too. And so, and really what it was is I was scared. I was scared to like take any steps to get better. I just wanted to, and I thought I could just continue doing what I was doing and like get sober and do it myself. Like there were times where I would be sober for like a week or so, and I would be okay, and I'd be reading my Bible, and I would be in my Word and doing things like that I needed to be doing. I'd go to church or whatever, or be around believers, or but I was a coward. Basically, I was too scared to take a step, to whatever to. I guess to go to Wyoming would have been the thing that was the biggest thing that was on my mind about getting help, because a year before I came here, I talked to Frank, and he gave me the go-ahead to come out here, and that was, I guess, 2 years ago now, and I didn't, I was like, well, I can do it myself, and I was not able to. So I continued to live like that, and then I got to a point, I was on YouTube the night before I made the commitment to come here. So it was about a week before I got out here. I was living in my car, and I was parked in the woods because there was like nowhere I could go park. Like there was, I was scared to death. I hadn't slept in a while, and I was tweaking out, and I was like scared to get arrested or whatever. So I was basically hiding, even if I didn't have to. But I was like, you almost could have thrown a rock at my church from where I was sitting in my car, parked off like in this little pull off in the woods, and I was sitting there using. And when I would get like that, when I would use all that, like, just be sitting there in my car using, I didn't have anything to do, so I'd watch YouTube a lot. And I got on YouTube one night, and well, it was actually like 4 in the morning. I had just got back from my dealers, and it was like, about 4 in the morning when I was sitting there. I got on YouTube, and it was like there was this guy's testimony just randomly on YouTube. Like I never looked up that kind of stuff or anything, and it just just happened to pull up on my YouTube. And so something, I just watched it. I don't know why, but I watched it. And when I tell you I broke down crying, I mean, it was something else. Like, I just was crushed, because what this guy was saying was just, it was right on the money for, for where I was. I believe he was a recovering addict or something like that. And it just crushed me. And so, like I said, I just got back from my dealers. I spent like $50 or $60, which really isn't a lot, but for somebody that doesn't have a job or any way to get money, that is a lot of money. And I just spent that on dope. And I sat there. I remember I sat there for several hours and thought about it, like if I was going to do this or not, like if I was really committed to getting sober and to going to Wyoming. So I prayed about it, and then I prayed for a place to be open here, and then I guess that was pretty early. It was about 7 or 8 in the morning. I got out of my car with like all $60 or whatever worth of dope, and my pipe I was smoking it out of. I got out and I smashed it, and I got in my car, and it was a Saturday morning. And the thing about it is, that's like, you can really see God's providence here, is that on Saturdays, my church back home, like, there's nobody there, like, ever. That's everybody's off day at that church. And so it was kind of a shot in the dark, but I was, like I said, had tossed my stuff, and I was like, all right, I'm doing this, I'm ready. And I was just like, I hope there's somebody that's at the church by chance. And so I drive up there at the same time. Like I said, it wasn't very far, probably less than a half mile, quarter mile or whatever. As I'm pulling in, the pastor, Frank and Karen's nephew, he's pulling in at the same time. And so we both get in, and, he's like confused to see me. He's like, what the heck, but I get out, and anyway, I went in there and talked to him, and just, again, broke down, crying. I was so tired of being where I was at, and I just wanted this. Like, this is what I wanted. Like, where I'm at now, that's what I wanted. So bad. Kind of like that plaque says that they give you. Like, that's right on the money. That's exactly how I felt. And so I went in there, and anyway, sometime throughout the day, we called Frank, and he said to wait a week. And so I was thinking, like, holy crap, a week? Like, I wouldn't have been able to make it. I would have been back on dope. Like, I would have gone and, like, picked it out of the woods or something. That's how desperate I was. So anyway, he said a week, and there were some guys that go to college not far from where my church is, and they lived in a house together. There was like 5 of them in this house, and they let me stay on their couch for like a week, and that was a godsend, because if they hadn't, then y'all wouldn't see me. I wouldn't be here today or at all. So I guess basically what I'm getting at and what I'm about to read is, like, I was so scared to change. Like, I was so scared to, like, do anything about my situation. I've heard people say or whatever that, like, faith is like the opposite of fear. And so, like, I had no faith in God or myself or anybody, but God put that in my heart that night or morning or whatever. Like, he put that in my heart. And so I can't even take credit for that. Like, it wasn't me. I didn't do it wasn't my courage or my faith or my strength that got me out here, because I'd be dead or, in jail or whatever right now if I'd tried to do it that way. I tried so many times, but God put that in my heart. And he gave me the faith. And that faith is what got me out here. Like, it was scary to come from, whatever it is, 1,700 miles or whatever, up here, not knowing anybody, just completely in the dark. I'd never been up here like this way at all. Like I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but God was He kept telling me, like, just go, like, um, and He would provide for me, and He sure has, and not only provided for me, but I've found way more than what I got way more than what I bargained for. Like I came out here to get sober, but I've found God, and I've found like strength and courage and faith. I have peace. I'm learning patience and all those fruits of the Spirit. God is working on me like in that way in my heart, and that just wouldn't have been the case if I hadn't come here. And so I'm going to read Hebrews 11, and I'm going to jump around in Hebrews 11 because it's a long chapter, and I just had a few key spots that I wanted to highlight. So verse 1 of Hebrews 11 says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good testimony. By faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that the things which are seen were not made of things which are visible." And so, yeah, there in the beginning, it's the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That's basically where I was at before I came here. It's just I didn't know, like I said, what I was getting myself into, but I had hope. I had hope that I'd be better, and I had hope that I'd be sober, and God's just provided so much more than that. Then I'm going to jump down to verse 6. It says, "But without faith it is impossible to please Him. For he who comes to God must believe that He is, and that He is a rewarder of those who diligently seek Him." And that was one of the big changes in my life too. Coming out here is I could be a lot more diligent even now, but like back home, whenever I'd have those, like, whatever you want to call them, spiritual highs, where I'd stop using for a little bit, I didn't ever like get in my word or anything like that. Like I was not diligent about my walk, and so it just pulled me down, and I ended right back up in the place that I was. And then basically, to close, I'm actually going to go to Hebrews 12, verse 1. And it says, and this is just kind of like what our hope is, what our faith is in. And so it goes like this: "Therefore we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before Him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God." And so, excuse me. So that's kind of where I'm at now, about to leave. And for people who've been in the program or people still in it or whatever, and I mean for everybody else too, but I guess that's where I can speak from experience from is, like it says, Jesus endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Like, I know life's still going to be hard, and it's going to be real tough at times, and it isn't going to be easy, and I'm going to have to endure things in life, and that can be scary. It could be, but that's the end goal, is not at the right hand of the throne of God, but being there, being in heaven with God. Life is going to be hard, but He's there with you. And that's something that I'm having to keep in mind, is that God is going to be there through the good times and through the bad times, and when life is hard, and He is all that I need, and I don't have to use drugs ever again because of that. So that's all I got. Thank you.